that we've learned about the overall umbrella concept of the nervous system, let's talk about the divisions of the nervous system. First, we're going to talk about the central nervous system. Now, central, think of center, and that's going to include the brain and spinal cord. But let's first talk about the brain. It's intriguing because there's different functions of the brain. There's left brain functions and right brain functions, and some people are more left brain versus right brain. And the left brain is actually going to have functions such as written language, number skills, reasoning, our spoken language, control of our right hand, and science skills. So if you're a good science student, you're probably more left-brained. Whereas right-brained people have good insight. It deals with the 3D forms and art awareness. So if you're more of an artist, you're probably more of a right-brained person. And it controls our left hand, as well as our imagination. So the central nervous system, if we look at this diagram, this looks overwhelming, but this is actually the whole nervous system, both divisions. The central nervous system is just this, the brain and the spinal cord. Now, there's a lot that goes on there, though, because the brain itself is such a complex structure. If we first look at the spinal cord, we look at this diagram, and this is just a structure. Around the outside, there's a membrane that protects it. It's called the meninges. And then we have what's called the white matter and the gray matter. The gray matter being the center of the cord. And attached to this, you see all these nerves, and all the nerves will be connected and go up to the brain. So you have this communication system. And then the brain is divided into all of these different sections. They're called lobes. And we talk about the frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal lobe. And then at the bottom, we have what's called the brainstem. And this is going to consist of the pons, the cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata. The stem being more the pons and the medulla. Cerebellum sometimes is called the little brain. Now, the cerebellum is actually located down here. It's small, and it's going to control coordination and balance. It's going to receive signals from the cerebrum. The cerebrum is this whole part up here, big folded tissue, and it's going to help us mainly with balance. So the way to remember cerebellum, remember balance. So the cerebellum is going to be coordination and balance. If we talk about the cerebrum, this is going to be the overall largest portion of the brain. And there's lots of folds and grooves in here to increase the surface area so that there's more nervous impulses that can be transmitted. If you look at different organisms, they're actually going to have different kinds of folds, different numbers of folds. The more complex the organisms, the more folds they have. So we have a very complex brain. And the cerebrum is going to be responsible for controlling voluntary movements of the body. It's our site of intelligence and judgment. And we divide it into the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. That's what we were talking about with the right brain and left brain. And then remember that the right brain is going to control the left side of the body, and the left part of the brain is going to control the right side of the body. So any kind of movement or anything is controlled by the opposite hemisphere of the brain. And the in-between the two hemispheres is a structure called the corpus callosum, and that's what's going to be this connection between the two hemispheres, and it enables communication to happen between the left and right side of the body. We have different lobes here because they are responsible for controlling different things in the body. So the occipital region actually is going to be responsible for vision, whereas frontal lobe is going to be more reasoning. Then the brainstem down here is kind of the switchboard of the brain, and it regulates the flow of information between the brain and the spinal cord. So we'll right to the bottom here. So we have the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata, and the medulla oblongata is going to control those involuntary functions, such as blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, and swallowing. So if there's something that happens to the medulla, unfortunately, it's going to cause instant death. And then the pons is going to control just breathing. Now, there's lots of glands in here as well. And if we look closely, you see this very small gland and that's the pituitary gland. Remember, the pituitary gland is going to be that master gland that's going to control other glands. And then we have thalamus and hypothalamus. Okay? And they're located in the center of the brain, and the thalamus is going to receive messages from the sense organs and then relay that information to the cerebrum for it to be processed so that it can be interpreted. And then the hypothalamus is going to control hunger, thirst, body temperature, fatigue, and anger. So each of these sections of the brain has a very specific role. And damage to one part of the brain can cause, a loss of function in just that part. So it was very interesting how, people with brain injuries have certain functions and other functions are taken away because of that. So the main things you want to remember, the largest part is the cerebrum, and that's going to control, it's our conscious thought. The small brain here is the cerebellum. That's going to be our coordination and balance. And then the brainstem, pons and medulla, are going to control those involuntary, unconscious things such as breathing and heart rate.